Merry meet everyone, welcome back to My Pagan Life as always. Also, I'd just like to ask how you guys are doing today. Make sure to let me know down in the comments below. I love to hear from you guys. Anyway, getting back to the point of the video, I've had a thought that's been lingering in the back of my mind for some time now. Namely, that of materialism or materialistic and competitive witchcraft. What does it actually mean? Well, stay tuned and find out. This video was originally supposed to be titled, "What herbs and crystals should you really use for magic?" But then I thought about it for a second and I decided to go for a more suitable title. Still though, I do actually want to ask that exact question. What herbs and crystals should you really use for magic? Well, that is a pretty good question in general, but you're also about to find out what I am trying to get at with this question. My answer? Whatever's practical. Whatever it is you can easily get a hold of or what you already have. At the end of the day, details don't really matter. Learn about these resources, these tools, and use them as you see fit. Just remember to add intention and heart to your magical workings, cause that is what will ultimately determine the outcome of your magical workings. And roll credits. No, I'm just joking. Don't leave. But anyway, the answer I just served you is just my answer. My opinion and truth that I've decided upon and held on to during my time as a witch. Some witches may not agree with my approach at all. And that's what I'm here to rant about. Well, kinda. And with that said, here's a tiny disclaimer before we continue. If you don't agree with what I'm about to say in this video, that is totally and utterly, completely fine, and I'm not here to bash anyone else's approach or practice. I simply wish to share my perspective. Anyway, moving on. At this point, I think some background is in order, so allow me to establish some things that might help you understand my perspective just a little bit better. So, herbs and crystals are pretty essential to my practice, and I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who feels that way about one's own practice. However, I consider myself a minimalist and practical witch. For instance, the first thing that comes to mind when I'm thinking of doing a spell is, what herbs and crystals can I use for this spell? I then proceed to check out the herbs in my kitchen to see if there is any herb or, well, spice that can be appropriate considering my spell's purpose. And of course, I also do the same for my collection of crystals. But I'm not the type of magical practitioner that has cupboards upon cupboards filled with herbs and spices, nor do I have shelves dedicated to all of my crystals and stones and minerals in general. At the time of recording this video, I'm a 17-year-old, soon to be 18-year-old high school student. I make do with very little, and I use whatever I have at my disposal to make my magical practice work. On top of that, I also keep things fairly simple. Even if I go out to buy something specifically for my magical practice, which I do once in a blue moon, by the way, I never overcomplicate things. So now you might ask, okay, Maja, I get it now. What's the problem? Well, it's just that sometimes I feel very lonely in my philosophy. A lot of witches that I have observed, for example here on YouTube, have what I would personally call a high-maintenance practice. And again, I'm not here to bash anybody else's approach or practice. I don't mean this in a condescending way at all. I just find it difficult to explain it any other way. But what do I actually mean by a high-maintenance practice? Well, one thing is that it's very extravagant and has a unique appearance to a point where I'm personally unsure of as to how people are able to maintain it at all. Like, how do you afford all this stuff? Or how do you manage to keep all your witchy magical rooms and items clean? Another thing I mean by high maintenance practice is how some or, certain practitioners are very particular or picky about the resources that they use. When it comes to books and things of the like, I can understand this attitude, but I don't get it quite as much when it comes to things like crystals, herbs, and any other tool for that matter. Say you need salt for a certain spell. My personal approach would be, well, unless it's a very particular situation, salt is salt. I'll use whatever salt I have. And while I'm here thinking that, this other person over here is all like, okay guys, so you need Himalayan sea salt. All right, I see. Thanks for the input, but I'll personally stick to regular salt if you don't mind. Now, I'm not trying to say that having this approach is bad necessarily. A high maintenance practice isn't necessarily good or bad in and of itself. We're all different and we should all have the freedom to practice in any way we want. But here's the thing, I just think it's important for us to be aware of this so that the materialistic aspect of witchcraft doesn't become a big problem or concern for the community as a whole. Sometimes I do actually fear that this sort of obsession with materialistic things in witchcraft contributes to what certain witches have beautifully and accurately coined, in my opinion, competitive witchcraft. AKA, when people get caught up in trying to have a good enough magical practice or a better magical practice than somebody else. In short, anyway. I'll leave a link down below to the video that originally inspired me to talk about this topic in the first place. I know it was like 9 months ago, but whatever. Here's the original comment that I left on the video, and that basically sums up my feeling concisely and perfectly. I'm the kind of witch/Wiccan who has the on-a-budget mindset when it comes to my craft and practice, and after a few years of experience, I'm very okay with that. It really works for me in my lifestyle. But in the beginning, I almost felt some kind of pressure to make it more elaborate in terms of the fancy materialistic stuff. I think that can be a real struggle to some, especially for beginners. I still stand by that sentiment and those words. It's okay to be materialistic and to kind of connect, materialistic things to your practice, but it shouldn't get in the way of the deeper, more important things, in my opinion. I think it's important that we encourage one another to seek meaning deep within ourselves so that we can truly utilize the potential that we all individually possess. If certain tools like crystals and herbs can actually help you do that and you have access to them, by all means go ahead. But I think we need to be able to distinguish what it is we actually feel like we really need and what it is we just want for the sake of the glitz and glamour of it all. Like, I'm fairly sure you don't desperately need that one exotic herb or that insanely expensive crystal you found on Amazon. At least not for one spell. Just as with my practice, I try to keep the magical things I do on this channel very simple and comprehensible too. This is both a deliberate and natural decision on my part. It is my philosophy that magic shouldn't have to be something that is overly complicated or resource consuming. If anything, I wish to kind of show how normal, casual, and practical it can all be, making it no less purposeful or fulfilling. I think that's a very constructive approach, both for ourselves and for the outside world looking in. For us, it can work as a reminder of the most essential things for us as individuals. For outsiders, it can help create the understanding and impression that witches are people just like everyone else. It's just that we go about our daily business in our own unique ways. We may not do what the majority of people do, but it really doesn't have to be all that crazy or foreign as people make it out to be. So that's my basic take on the issue, guys. Again, I'd like to emphasize that I don't have a problem with people who put a lot of effort into their practice, in terms of aesthetics or those kinds of things. Generally speaking, I find it so fascinating to learn about other people's preferences and styles, even if they are extremely different from my own. This is just me sharing my thoughts, opinions, and perspectives with the witchcraft community as well as the entire world. With that said, what is your take on the issue? Do you like to keep your magical practice practical and minimalistic, or do you like it to be more elaborate, bold, and/or fancy? Make sure to tell me your thoughts down in the comments below. Also, I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more videos every week on Wicca, paganism, and witchcraft. And of course, if you want to see more videos like this one, I have an official playlist of all my boar videos, or a bit of a rant videos. I have talked about and discussed why I won't go vegan, Sign Zero Witch, what I've learned about tea, and whether you should curse or hex in the context of witchcraft. You can also suggest topics for future boar videos. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and until we meet again, blessed be from my pagan life.